So I wanted to come on here and share a story. I was in a conversation the other day with this woman. I thought the conversation was really fascinating, and some of her points and some of the things we talked about opened up some ideas for me. I wanted to share them with you. So we were talking to this woman, myself and my wife, and she was sharing with us about she was single. She had stopped dating a long time ago for personal reasons, and she said she was focused on her career, focused on other things. She didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to worry about it. And she had just, kind of gotten in a rut of not dating for all these years. And I said, well, do you want a relationship? And she said, well, yeah, of course, I'd like a relationship. And I said, well, why not work on that also then? Because obviously you could work on your career, you could work on these other things, but why not also work on your relationship if that's something you want? If you want to have that in your life, it's kind of like do it now before you run out of time. So we got to having this conversation, and she said, I really would like to start dating again, but I feel like there are no good men out there. And obviously this is a common challenge. I get it. And, we discuss it a lot with people we work with in our programs. And, it comes up all the time, this idea of feeling like there are no good men, or I can't find a good partner. There's nobody out there. And I got to thinking, like, what could I do about this? And some of you may have heard me mention this already, that I started doing this project where I'm interviewing and showcasing the stories of committed, honorable men, because I've known so many great men through my life, and I know that these men do exist, and I've had role models and people that I've mentored, and I've gotten to know so many great men, and I wanted to showcase their stories and show that these men do exist and they are out there. And so I shared this with her, that I said, I'm doing this project because I think there are a lot of good men in the world, and I wanted to show that. And she goes, well, are these men all in relationships? And I said, well, yeah, that's kind of the point is, these are committed men who are in committed relationships. And I wanted to show that, these men really do exist. And she goes, well, yeah, I get that. And that's awesome. But that's the problem, is all the good ones are taken. And I got to thinking about that, and I started, this is what I do when someone tells me something, I start to study it. So I started looking at all the single men I could find, and my wife and I were just in Costa Rica, so I got to watch all the people at the resort, and kind of started paying attention and thinking about this. Like, is that true? Like, are all the good ones in relationships? And I started to watch and kind of think about this and pay attention. I started to think back to myself when I was single and when I met my wife, and I'm wondering, how is she coming up with this idea? What are the experiences that she's having that is making her think that all the good men are taken? And I really started to think about this, and I've come to some conclusions about it, and I think there is some truth to what she's saying. So I want to share that in this video. Now, before we jump in, please like the video, subscribe, share it with a friend, follow us, all that good stuff you got to do. Please do it before we begin this video. Also, after you watch this video, go to 7daysofinspiration.com. That's 7daysofinspiration.com, where you can opt into a 7-day video series where we are breaking down the limiting beliefs that are preventing you from finding the epic love story that you're looking for. That's 7daysofinspiration.com. So go ahead, go there. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the video. So as I shared, I've thought a lot about this and really tried to figure out, like, what's going on and why is it showing up this way? Why is it happening this way? And this is what I've discovered, is that relationships make us better people. I really, really think they do. I think that when we choose to live our lives in a way where we are living with a constant care and concern for another person, where we have to constantly compromise with that person, where we have to constantly be aware of that person's needs and be in service to that person and be there for that person if they need something, like we're available and make ourselves available for them and live with like that consideration and care for another person. I think when we choose that lifestyle for ourselves, it challenges us to grow in ways that we otherwise don't grow. And I think it makes us better people. It takes us out of ourselves. It makes us more outward focused, more humanitarian, more of a giver. And I don't think it's bad to not have that. I just think there are certain ways that we grow when we have that in our lives that are different from how we would grow outside of that. And I think being in a relationship makes us better people. And so I thought back to when I was single and when my wife met me, the kind of lifestyle I had, the kind of person I was, and what I was going through in my life. And like, here's the thing. I would not say that I was a great man back then. Now I would say I consider myself to be a pretty great man. But back then I would not say that I was a great man. I would say that I was a good guy. I would say that, I had principles, I had values, I had good intentions. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I had care for other people, and I had a good heart, and I was genuine, and I was honest. And I think these are the things I had going for me back then, but there's so much growth that happened in this relationship, and I was not the man that I am today when I met my wife. And if she had required me to be this man back then, we wouldn't have the relationship we have now. And I would say in her own way, and it's not really for me to say, but she could speak for herself about how she has grown, but I know she has, and I know she's not the woman she is today, or I know she's not today. You know what I'm saying? She has grown up too in this relationship. We've grown together, and this relationship has helped us grow and become better people. So if we had required back then for us to be the people we are now, we would not have had the relationship. So here's the thing. And because I know we often say you can't date someone's potential, and I firmly believe that, and I agree with that, is that you shouldn't date someone's potential. And at the same time, in a way you have to. In a way you have to see the person that they could become and see what you could become together and want to create that life with each other. And that's going to be the foundation for the epic love story that you'll create together. So you can't date someone's potential, and at the same time, to a certain degree, you have to. So I know you're sitting here going like, Shane, what the hell are you telling me right now? You're giving me conflicting messages. So I want to try to clarify this in a way that makes sense. On the surface, okay, in our programs, if you've taken any of our courses, you've heard us talk about the difference between surface attributes and character qualities. Surface attributes are the way somebody looks, the way they behave, the way they act, the way they do things, their certain lifestyle things. These are surface attributes, the things that show up on the surface. Then there are character qualities, which are things under the surface, the principles, the values, the things that people honor and are most important to them in their hearts. Now, the principles, values, character qualities have to be there. So when you're dating, you're not looking for somebody who is the ultimate expression of what they're going to become, because your relationship together is going to be part of that ultimate expression that you become together. So if you believe that you are meant to find love in your lifetime, that's a part of your story, that your life is meant to be an epic love story. If that's what you believe, then you also believe that your partner is going to be a part of you becoming who you're truly meant to be. So this relationship is part of becoming that ultimate expression on the surface. So you have to date their surface potential, but you have to find somebody who has the character qualities in terms of the principles and values that you match up on those deepest levels so that you can become the fullest expression together. Because if you don't match up on those levels, you're not going to become this fullest expression together. So how do you identify that? And I just want to share the story of myself and my wife. I think that'll be the clearest way to break down what I'm talking about right now. How did she know when she was dating me? How did she know that we could create what we have today together? Even in those early days, because I could have been putting on a show, I could have been a liar, I could have been a manipulator, I could have been pretending to be something I wasn't. How did she know? Well, I'll tell you a couple things. First of all, she did not jump in, she did not fall head over heels, and she made it very clear that if I wanted to be with her, that to a degree I would have to prove myself. And she wasn't nasty about it. She wasn't rude about it. She wasn't arrogant about it. It was just very simple. Like, I like you. I'm interested. I'm excited to see where this could go. And like, I'm not in love with you yet. Like, you're going to need to show me that this relationship is worth really giving my heart to. So she was open. She was kind. She wasn't nasty or had an attitude or anything like that. But she did make it clear that I didn't just win her over that easily, that I had to work for that. That was part of what she did. Some other things she did was she paid attention. Like, she waited to see if I was honest. Did she constantly find me in conflicting stories? Did I hide things? Did I manipulate things? Did I do what I say I would do? Did I make consistent effort in the relationship? And she made me wait. Like, really, I mean, it was really like almost a year of like us really settling into our relationship. But there was a good couple of months before she was even willing to call me her boyfriend. And you know, within the 3-month window, like we talk about, we agreed that we would be exclusive, and which was also when we got to that point was something that she was serious about, was that I don't want to see other people if we're going to keep continuing on in this relationship. So I think to make this simple, what she did was, one, she knew her values, and two, she communicated her values. And she just asked me if I was the person who would be willing to honor those values with her, to respect those values with her. And she saw over time and time again, that I honored those values. And sometimes I didn't. Like there were times when I, for different reasons, would not be that person that she wanted me to be. And in those times, like we had to really figure that out. Like, was this a mistake? Like, did I make a mistake, or did I really, like, was I really revealing something about my character that was off? And we had to kind of work that out together. And like, yeah, I think to a degree I did the same thing with her, and we did this with each other. But the point here is that relationships help us grow. So the person, the partner that you're looking for is not going to be that person when you meet them. You're going to become those people together. And I think that's important, because I think it happens that way every time. Everybody I know has become a million times better with their partner than they ever were on their own. And I think we heal and we grow and we thrive when we have love in our lives. So my point is that the person you meet, the person that you're going to have your epic love story with, they will not be that person when you meet them. But if you can identify that they have the principles and the values that you want to base your life on, and that you share those things in common with each other, you can create a life together, and you will expand each other and bring out those best qualities in each other. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that's helpful. Now, some of you might be wondering, that's great, Shane. I love everything you're saying, but how do I recognize those values? How do I recognize those principles? That's why I want you to go to 7daysofinspiration.com and opt in for this video series, because we're breaking down the limiting beliefs and the bad habits that are preventing you from identifying those principles and those values in the ways that are most important. So go to 7daysofinspiration.com, opt in for that video series. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you over there. Take care.